welcome to For the Fans coverage of Big Brother Canada season number 10. What a season it's been and what a week it's been. Today we'll be chatting about episode 13, episode 14, which was one of my favorites of the entire season. Can't wait to hear Kiley and Josh's thoughts on it. How y'all doing?
I'm doing great. Oh man, these past couple episodes have definitely made me smile a little bit. I think I do agree. This is probably Thursday's episode, which in my opinion is probably the best of the season thus far. I have been very on the edge of my seat the entire time. I cannot wait to dive right into it to talk about it because definitely there's some stuff that's pretty interesting. So I can't wait.
Yes, doing wonderful. Excited to talk about it. Obviously, being in the States, I had to wait a little bit. So I had to make sure I didn't get any spoilers because I wanted to be able to watch the episode and not know what was going to happen. So I watched it at like 4 o'clock in the morning. Very good. It delivered.
Trust me. Wow. I was very anxious to tell Kiley, be like, so did you see the episode? Like, I was like, no spoilers. I'm like, okay. I have this habit of giving spoilers to Kiley for BB Can. I just have a habit for that.
So I want to start off.
It's one thing whenever, the seasons have taken place 5, 6, 7 years ago, but I don't want to be spoiled from the night before.
Okay, gotcha.
So, gauging by your thoughts and my thoughts about it thus far, let's start a little bit differently. I want you guys to summarize this last week in the Big Brother Canada house in one word. What is one word that describes the last week?
Maybe rectification.
Rectification?
Right.
What?
Rectification.
What the hell? That's not a word. What does that even mean?
They rectified the situation.
Okay. How about you, Josh?
I would have to say, cringy.
Cringy.
Reason being on Jess's end is because not only the edited version of this week did a pretty good job at trying to keep the game aspect and not focus on more on what happened, the outside stuff that wasn't discussed on the show. But still the way Jess was acting throughout their HOH raid was completely awkward, and they were even more awkward on the live feeds. And I was like, oh.
I'm sorry, Jess was not awkward. Jess was being Jess.
Jess is
okay, fair,
themselves,
fair. Jess was being themselves. Sorry. Jess
so,
was being
I do have to interject very quickly that rectification is a word. I did Google it to make sure.
Okay, so what's the definition of rectification? Just so
to rectify something, to make it right.
To rectify. I love it. My word, I'm going to use 2 words because I got really excited about this yesterday during the show, and that is Morning Helena. She's here. There's something going on there that nobody has been showing on the TV yet, and I want to hear and see more and more and more. But we're going to talk about all of this. So we started off season 13, episode 13. Season 13 is the season Josh will be cast on, hopefully. And we see Jess putting up Moose and Herman, and the first thing we see is Jess's reaction to Herman's little ditty that he does. Little ditty, little dance.
I loved it. I loved it because obviously there's no love lost between these people. And so Herman is just, he's doing it because he knows it gets under Jess's skin. And so he, does his little dance to the chair and just his shock face. Moose kind of does the same thing. And I love that, they're poking back at the bear. She has the power, but they're getting to kind of have the last word.
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of loved it. I kind of saw a little bit of disrespect in truth. Not disrespect to Jess, but more so disrespect to the game. But at the same time, that's Herman. And I think Herman made a strategic calculation that said, if I do this, I won't piss off any people that I'm actually wanting to work with. And Herman's like, I'm just going to do it because this is who I am and this is how I feel, so let's do it.
Well, and like he says, this wasn't something that was out of character for him. So...
it's fair for her. Well, I mean, like, it's fair for like Herman, because it's like, that's basically who he is. I mean, like, if someone nominates me to put me up on the block, I'd be like, cool, giddy, let's go. But I'm not gonna like pull up a little bit of a dance. I mean, like, I understand why it would like transcend the jest as a little bit of a like antagonizing them, but it's just more so of like Herman's character. I mean, like, I get the I get the reason why Jess thought that was a little bit like rude or disingenuous, but I saw that as more as just like Herman's just dancing their way on the block, just to like make it, just try to do it with a smile on their face and not just try to flip them off,
Yeah.
So we then finally get to see this really fun little diary room session with Josh, when he basically clearly says, you know what, I've actually been playing this game. I've got Final Two. I actually have 4 Final Twos. I got a Final Two with Herman. I got a Final Two with Jess. I got a Final Two with Marty. I got a Final Two with Betty. Look at me go. And I'm like, finally, DeLucas thinks he looks good and he's actually playing good. Am I wrong? Is he doing good?
Yes, I think he's doing good. So much of the focus the first few weeks have been on Gino, Marty, Kyle, Herman, Moose, Betty. Kind of that 6 have dominated a lot of what we've gotten to see. But especially in these last 2 episodes, we get a lot of what the other people are doing too. And it's probably the people that are set up to make a little bit of a deeper run than the people that are in the forefront right now.
I think I do agree with Kiley that the main focus for the past 5 weeks has been mostly the guys and Betty. But now, like, after Kyle has left, most of the women are getting more focused now. Like, especially Summer, T, and Helena now. Like, the 3 of them are getting more focused now, like, especially with the outcome of what's going on for this week. And in terms of the way that the game's been shifted up, like, we've seen the way that, like, the episodes have been laid up, that ever since week 2 or 3, Josh has been in the middle of everything. So it like they threw in some little bits of tidbits on there, but they didn't highlight being like, yeah, Josh was in the middle. But it's just like they made it like that. Josh said it in his confessional that like, yes, I was playing all sides the entire time and no one really knew about it. I mean, it was kind of obvious, but it's just the way that he was playing was absolute genius. And I think he could win this. Well, so I hope he gets well with that.
Here's the thing about Josh, is that Josh, to me, is playing the way I wish I could play if I ever got into that house.
Same.
Real authentic. The man that you see he's a little shy, he's a little quieter, he's a little kooky, and that's who he is. So there's no changing that. 100% authentic. And then going to create real relationships with people. And when he says he has finals 2 with them, he's actually also underlying that by saying he actually also has real relationships. He likes them. And I assume at some point we're going to see him actually have pain around having to cut them.
Yeah,
which we will see in just a few minutes here today. So,
right.
So to me, this is the beauty of a really good Big Brother player, is that you are yourself and you make strong relationships, and he's also doing well in comps. Mm-hmm. Now, also, big threat. Huge threat. Because just because he's doing it doesn't mean nobody sees it. So I think we might see the house start looking at him in a few weeks. So,
if he's able to keep his numbers in, then, maybe it goes well for him. If he loses some of his numbers, which he obviously loses 1, then, it might spell bad things for him.
We then go to Summer, and Summer, we all love and live for her diary room sessions. And she says, she's working with quite a few people, and the alliance that's closest to her is an alliance I've never heard of, but it's called the Siblings. And that's Jess, Summer, T, Betty. Why? Well, because Jess is the HOH this week, so obviously it's the closest alliance.
Yeah, this is the most important to me.
I love this. I love this. This is Summer creating those deep relationships, being extremely flexible when she needs to be, going to where the power is, coming back to where the power is. This is great gameplay. And somehow, even through this, everybody loves her. They want to be her friend. They want to listen to her jokes. Oh, I love her.
And, we get people comparing notes in Helena and Jess saying, oh, hey, you're in an alliance with those three. I'm also in an alliance of those three. But it doesn't come back on Summer. So
Yeah.
that speaks to how she's playing.
Yeah, like I want to like touch on that real quick because like what's interesting with Summer and Tanisha is that like they were both like sitting literally sitting in the best spots in the house next to Josh. Okay. Like they have like they're playing in the middle of everything and they know that like the more lean towards siding one side, but they're still in close quarters with everyone else, to be honest. But the one thing that that was the sole reason why I believe Tanisha, well, we'll get to that in a little second. But like the sole reason why those notes were got compared was because Tanisha threw out Helena's name out. Oops, shouldn't have done that because if we learn anything, that if you tell Jess something, Jess is going to tell that person, and then next thing you know, next thing you know, they can pull a Betty, and Betty can blow up a moose straight out of the water. So I should have been careful with that kind of information, but hey, you know what? It's your game. I'm not judging.
We then head to my favorite scene of this episode. It was about 10 seconds in length, but it gave me everything I ever wanted in life. And this was a scene with Moose and Betty in the bedroom. Moose asks a question to Betty about the summer, and Betty says, "Don't talk to me.
Don't talk to me."
Don't talk to me."
and
walks the heck out.
Moose is really just flabbergasted. I mean, Betty continues to have these little blow-ups. She did it at Kevin whenever he didn't get nominated, and she did. Does it at Moose just for talking to her. And so, once again, Betty has another little blow-up, and it's extremely entertaining to watch. I love watching Betty because she's so terrible at the game of Big Brother.
Oh, yeah. Look who's here. We got a special guest star.
Wow.
Come in. And Kevin is upset about something we said, I think.
So listen, I had to come and jump on here because I'm sitting here, and you got to give Helena the credit she deserves earlier.
Yes.
And watching Josh not love Josh, just
what?
It didn't feel like you were giving Josh the respect that he needed Josh V. So I just had to jump on here to jump in and join you guys for as long as I can.
Yes, please.
Wait, hold on. When did I say anything about like Josh on any bad negative?
I think Josh is jealous of Josh.
I think Josh is jealous of Josh.
No, I said like like I said earlier down in the podcast where I said like when Sheldon said that like Josh is playing the game that Sheldon wishes that he could play, and then I said same because I think he's probably going to play a better game than probably what I would do in the house.
Right.
But watching Sheldon mention all of the different alliances he's got.
Right.
And then Josh V was like making a face as if he was doing bad. That's when I decided I need to jump on here. So just keep going.
Okay.
Keep going.
Okay. I never said anything.
So Kevin, I gotta ask you a question. We were just talking about Betty going to Moose and saying, "I want to talk with you." Tell me about this, because this gives us life. What does this give you?
So it was Betty's a lot, and she, whenever she gets information, she needs to get to the. I respect her needing to get to the bottom of it immediately. Immediately. There's no time.
No, it's not that she's getting to the bottom of it. Betty holds a grudge like a jealous ex-girlfriend.
Yes.
You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like whenever you look at your wallet and it's like an onion, and every time I open it, it makes me cry. Betty is very similar to an onion. And every time she gets some information, she just blows up. It makes her cry. And this is what we get from her.
I agree. She doesn't like her name being out there, but she also will not forgive you if you didn't actually put her name out there. So that is it.
Well, look, here's the thing. All my life, I thought that air was for free. I believe that. And that was until I bought a bag of chips. Okay, and this is exactly what Betty is doing. All this hot air is getting in the way of her game, and it won't be free. It won't be free. It's going to cost her the game because, truthfully, if this continues, even if she somehow manages to get to the end, she cannot win because nobody will feel happy to vote for her to win.
Correct.
Yeah, like I think Betty is so far playing a little bit too much of an emotional game than a strategic game. I truly hope that Betty can like turn things around and really just kind of use her way of like trying to convince people like, hey, don't throw my name out or I'm coming for you. Like if she uses that more as a strategy purpose, okay, then you know what? I will have a respect for Betty, like if she gets to the end to win. But if she doesn't do that, then she's just going to be one of those goats you could just carry to the end and then you can beat her.
But that's another thing is that Betty has proven that she can't win competitions.
That too.
So by her not winning competitions, there's no she has completely shot herself in the foot in terms of threat level because she blows up on people. She cannot be patient. She needs to come at you immediately, and she can't win comps, which means that there's no threat at all of Betty doing anything to anybody.
So we head on over to talking about Veto Picks, and you see this interesting scene where you've got Moose and Herman, and magically they are both obviously saying we're scared to pick Gino. But then they say they want Josh to play. Both of them want Josh. What is this? What?
Well,
I mean, obviously Herman wants Josh to play because Herman and Josh have a final too. But Moose,
what about Moose?
What?
I thought Moose knew things.
Moose doesn't really have any strong, solid connections in the house, other than Herman, Summer, and Tanisha. And even then, him and Herman are not that tight. Right. So it's more Summer and Tanisha. And even with Summer and T being the case, they can't really win comps. So they're not really someone he's looking at. Whereas Josh has done a very good job positioning himself as an ally to all. So since he's an ally to all, Moose is like, well, maybe Josh will use it on me because he'll take me down because I picked him. Because we're friendly.
Yeah, well, like if we look back into a past scene where like Moose asked Josh if he would use the veto on him, he was like, I'm not so sure. This time he didn't ask Josh at all. Then when it got to the veto picks, which probably when we get to that in a little bit, but it was like a complete shock for Josh that like he was going to be playing in the veto. And then he's like, he never asked me, so okay, I'll take it, but I'm not going to use the veto.
So who was that left the room and said that they were down to play in the veto?
Gino.
Oh,
so that was G. Yeah,
that was Gino.
Well, Josh, you fast forwarded us a bit, but that's good. You know, we go to the veto pick. Herman spins the wheel, picks the beautiful JC Lynn. Moose picks the wheel, gets house guest choice, and as you said, picks Josh. And then we, cue Josh in the diary room. I'm not going to use it on him. Obviously not. Why would he? And then Jess spins, and there we go.
Well, hold on, Sheldon. Because he said he wasn't going to use it on him, but even in Moose's DR, he said that he thinks that Josh will use it on one of us. So
he's hopeful.
Yeah, because when they sit there and discussed it, I'm assuming obviously we get like a small 20-second, 30-second clip it, but I'm assuming they fleshed out through everybody, and Josh seemed the most capable and possible to use it on one of them.
Well,
one of the two.
That says to me a lot about Moose's game and Moose's inability to make any real relationships, as Kevin, you said. Because truth be told, what you're basically saying is the only way Moose could get off the block if he doesn't win is for somebody else to get off the block, and not he has not nobody would ever use it for him. That's horrible gameplay. He's not he's completely expendable.
Yeah, I agree with that. And
but he's there for vibes.
I mean, he's there for vibes, but nobody wants him for vibes anymore.
The vibes are over. If I was there, I'm Kevin. I'm playing. I don't care what I'm doing. I'm putting on a show as well. I'm going for it.
Moose never watched the show, and he doesn't really know how the game goes, which has also been really funny because everyone's convinced that that's a ruse. when in reality the dude doesn't know the show.
He doesn't know.
He's just trying to tell him. So he legitimately is there for like to have a good summer or a good winter, I guess, or spring, and enjoy himself.
Yeah.
And then just enjoy himself for like 60 days. And that's it.
So we see Herman studying again in the pantry. Jess enters. And in true Jess fashion, Jess just needs to spend some time and wishing him luck. Gotta wish him luck. I didn't really like your theatrics, but I respect you. I didn't like your theatrics, but I respect you. Bullcrap. Okay, fine. Don't say anything if you don't have anything nice to say, and then apologize. And then Jess leaves. And Kevin, you're really good at doing a Herman impression. What does Herman do?
And then he like boxes a little bit. Yeah. My favorite part about Herman, so Herman consistently gives us what we need to the cameras. He knows where all the cameras are.
Yeah.
And make sure that the camera sees his face and knows exactly what he's doing, what he's thinking. Because she leaves and he's like, what? Like, what? I don't need anything from Jess.
You. Yes, from you, the person that put me on the block. You, the person that, says you're intimidated by me and things of that nature. Just move on, Jess.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, the thing is, again, this is a testament to Jess, because if it was another HOH who would actually be able to control the week, Herman would never do this. Because Herman, even if Herman was on the block, Herman would need to actually go to that HOH and start building a better bond, start promising things, start saying, this is how I see us working forward. Like, there, in his mind, and he's read it right, there is such little respect and such little adoration for Jess in the house that there's truly no point. Now,
right,
and
it's almost
a little bit.
It's almost a thing of a lot of times the house does do what the HOH wants, and Jess has such polarity in the house that basically the majority are going to do the opposite of what Jess wants. So if Jess firmly puts the target onto Herman, they're probably going to vote Moose out in spite of Jess's opinion. And so Herman is right to just be like, nope, we don't have a good relationship, and I'm not going to play that we do either. I'm not going to kiss your ass. Thank you, but no thank you. And, Moose takes the same approach, which I think is the right move for both of them.
And Q2, the Power of Veto competition, Thrill of the Fine. You got the beautiful Tanisha. She's hosting. Finally, love Tanisha. Really nice way for Big Brother Canada to make some money off of winners. They gotta find some. I don't think anybody who works at winners does this.
It's a W.
Josh,
okay.
I'm sorry.
I tried.
Sorry,
Whatever. Go on. I tried a dub. Okay, it didn't work.
It's more like this, but not the other way.
Go on.
So basically they got to find some 3 designer items on a rack. Then they got to find price tags that match. And then they got to balance some shit. And who wins? Herman wins HOH, able to take himself off the block, but in true Herman fashion, he's got to do it in style. Go straight up to Jess, shakes their hand, and says, "Thank you."
the moment Herman won, he was acting a fool. He couldn't help himself. I
don't blame him.
Ran around. He was screaming. Thanks, Jess, for putting him on the block and giving him the opportunity to take himself down. Throughout both this episode on Wednesday and the episode on Thursday, throughout both episodes, just watching, like, Jess just had a perpetual face the whole time. It was just a sad
She is looking at them thinking, you son of a bitch.
Yeah, like the whole time, because nothing is going according to plan. So the moment Herman wins, they're like, and then as Herman runs around and screams, they're like, there's never joy. Their HOH, they thought that this was going to be a great week, and I mean, in real time, they get the HOH on Thursday. From Friday until last night, it's been nothing but sadness.
And it ended even sadder for them.
Yeah.
And here's the thing: like Jess came into the week hoping that they would not only play an awesome HOH week, but also that they would make some friends and they would become popular. And the exact opposite happened.
Yeah.
It sucked. I feel bad. Like I kind of feel bad.
I know.
Well, Kiley's evil.
I mean, I called Jess sucking from the get-go. Literally from the second Jess's picture flashed on the screen, told y'all that this wasn't gonna go well.
Well, listen, this is the thing, is that Jess is a super fan, and Jess was self-aware, but they did not understand how to change people's perception of them. They didn't know how to like dial it back, or at least they didn't appear to know how to dial it back while on the show. And so it has been they went out there for a mission to like make sure they were shown authentically, but unfortunately their authentic self just didn't jive with these people.
Listen, I got to tell you something my mother always said. My mother always said that the older you get, the better you get, unless you're a banana. And Jess is a banana. As they continue on through this game, they're not getting better. They're getting worse and worse and worse.
And getting, mushy like an old banana.
Like, I think that, like, at first I felt bad for Jess when they got put up on the block first week. I thought that, like, they had so much to give. But then when you see the weeks go by, you knew the flame of the candle was already going to be burnt out. So, and I think this was like the final straw that broke the camel's back for Jess, especially like with her mom winning the veto. But then when Jess's HOH gets over, they're going to realize that they're like 100% next if someone who isn't really Kevin or Helena to win HOH, who either of them aren't really good at comps either way, so Jess is probably screwed anyway. So that was their one shot to make some good connections with their HOH week, and they botched it as well. But what can you do?
We see Jess talking in their diary room and basically saying, Herman winning, not ideal. Now they have no choice but to get rid of Moose, and Moose needs to be the target. And now they've got to figure out who the right person is to put up right beside Moose so that Moose goes. So, folks, A, do you agree with this? B, if you do, who is the right target to make sure Moose goes?
I mean, Jess is right in that for their HOH train to be successful, that they needed to get Moose out of the house. You can't put up two people and have both of them kind of make a mockery of you and then both stay in the house. So 100% spot on that they need Moose to go in this situation.
Yeah,
what they needed to have done is to have listened to the house and put up Helena, because they would have voted Helena out over Moose.
No, but that's not the thing, though. That's the thing that they didn't want. So that was the problem, right? is that Moose was just his target, right? Just as a Big Brother player,
you got to put up like Summer.
Did the perfect move, right? They put up two people that they were fine going home. The biggest problem is that they didn't have the right read of the house and didn't realize that the house was not fine with those people going home.
Right.
That was the bigger problem. But when you're HOH, if you're not looking at a back door, which is perfectly fine, you put up two people that you don't care about. So if you put up two people that you don't care about, whether they're here or not, then one of them has to go home. If you're trying to send home a showmance, you put up both of them. Look at Big Brother 8, right? You put up Dick and Danielle next to each other. That's the move to get it done, because you're trying to get rid of one of them. Now, Dick and Danielle made it through that week by Dick terrorizing Jen, which is a different thing. But if you want someone from a showmance to go, Brendan and Rachel, you put them next to each other. One of them has to go. So if you are cool with either Herman or Moose going, that's the move of putting them next to each other. And then Sheldon, you asked who should they have put up next to
Moose.
Next to Moose, you got to put up Josh. You got to put up Josh. You have a good connection with Josh. everyone has a good connection with Josh, except for like someone like Marty. But Marty's not going to be enough to get this to flip.
What is
so
that?
You put up
What is
Josh.
What does that do to the final two, though? Like, do you not ruin your final two?
You talk to Josh and you let Josh know that I need Moose to go. And based on, I know that you have a good relationship with everybody, which is why I don't think anyone's going to try to flip it.
Well, that was the problem. They didn't know that.
Yeah, and like I want to like put in my 2 cents as well. I think if Jess really wanted Moose gone, Jess should have put up either Josh or Helena, because no matter what, they have the votes to stay. No matter what, and Moose would have gone home that way. If Jess puts anyone else up on the block, they 100% have the votes to take them out. So I think putting up Josh probably would have been the much more guaranteed bet. Putting up Helena is the lesser of the two that's probably going to get more blood on their hands. But I think doing either Josh or Helena was probably the right call. But
I think Helena goes home.
Maybe. That really depends on like who's the two.
Tanisha,
Summer,
Herman, definitely voting her out.
Yep. JC
Lynn Gino, maybe keep her, maybe don't.
Kevin's gonna push for it not to do it.
Right. So Kevin's a vote to keep her. Josh might keep her might vote her out too at this point, because Josh doesn't trust her yet. So that's 4, and it's already too close. That's all you need is one person to flip. You don't know about how Marty and Helena's connection, so that's not a worry. You don't know about what the showmance is going to do. As we know, Kevin's not going to vote him out. So then it just comes down
to Betty.
And
Betty will kick out Moose. So I think it would probably be a close bet. But that's
maybe Betty doesn't, though, because Betty is working with Tanisha and Summer, and to a lesser extent Herman, because of the squad, right? So maybe the squad votes out Helena, and then Helena goes home, because then they keep Moose, because they keep Moose in the squad, because Moose can win competitions. I don't think Helena was a good. I didn't think Helena was a good option, because Kylie said herself that you put up Helena, then you flip it on Helena.
I think I think that was definitely a tricky one, because I do think that like putting up Helena would probably be a more riskier bet, because the votes could flip on Helena, which is possible, more of a split scenario. But yeah, like I do agree that Josh probably would have been the much safer bet, but Jess should have done damage control to that.
I think it kind of comes back to the whole situation of whoever Jess wanted out of the house. There was enough numbers there that they were almost always going to get flipped in the opposite direction. So if Jess would have been like, hey, I'm going to nominate Tanisha, I want Tanisha to leave, they probably would have flipped it and voted Moose out. Because I think that Jess had so many people against them that they're just...
It didn't matter what Jess was going to do.
And,
they were going to get screwed.
Super distracted, but I just have to know, is that Phil Robertson outside of your passenger window? Because I see a long beard... Your other passenger window. See the look.
I don't know.
Who's Phil Robertson? Was he on BB Camp?
From Duck Dynasty?
Okay.
I don't know. I don't watch Duck Dynasty.
So let's go to my next favorite part, because I've got a lot of favorite parts.
Okay.
We see the alliance I've been waiting for, I've been hoping for, I've been dreaming for. I was a little turned on, I'll be honest. Alina and Kevin, seems like they created an alliance from the beginning of the season called The Ghost. Why? Because they're around. Nobody really sees them. But you could feel them, because tentacles are everywhere. I love this. And we see Kevin saying, listen, this is actually my ride or die. This is actually the one I'm going to fight my rear end for. And Helena is the one that I got to make sure this week Jess does not go after and put up beside Moose, because if the house does what I think it's going to do, Moose is going to stay and Helena's going to go home. And that's bad for me.
Yeah, like I think Kevin definitely got the right read, because if Helena would have been put up on the block, it was definitely more of a risk for Helena to go than for Moose. but also the fact that like it's kind of ironic that like they call themselves the Ghost, where like they're just there, but the edit doesn't show them. So I felt like that was kind of funny that like production decided to cut them off for most of the scenes. Well, like mostly like Helena, but not Kevin. And the fact that like she was cut out for like most of the episodes until Kevin mentions the Alliance. Then we get more screen time from like Helena, which is kind of ironic, but I mostly enjoyed that very much. And the fact that Kevin was pushing for Helena to stay was definitely very nice. I like it.
I mean, Kevin did work in the BB house this week.
He
did. And this was Kevin's HOH reign. You know, Jess did like Kevin's bidding.
Right.
They missed a prime opportunity twice here. So first off, to speak to Kevin and his masterful work this week, I loved when Kevin said, Jess is considering putting up Helena. And while that's a good move for Jess's game, it's not a good move for mine, so I'm going to make sure it doesn't happen. And I thought that was fantastic. But the thing I was going to say is that they missed a prime opportunity here in the edit to, like, after they said that they were the Ghost, they should have, and this is hilarious to me, they should have went to like 2 or 3 clips where they are clips from earlier in the season, and then you pan out and Kevin standing over there. Or you pan out and Helena's also in the scene, but like they had zoomed in and they weren't there, so like they were here, but then they panned out and you realize there's all of this around you, and that because they're the Ghosts, they're there, but like no one knows they're there. It would have been great, like we panned out and they're just like in the room, but we never saw them the first time they showed the scene. I thought that would have been hilarious.
I think that would have been a good idea for that, but like I think the fact that Kevin and Helena called themselves the Ghosts definitely kind of saved their edit a little bit. Well, mostly Helena, but like it definitely saved their edit a little bit because that explains why you didn't see Helena and Kevin together in like the first 13 episodes, which is definitely very plausible and explainable why they didn't show them together for most of the episodes. But
we then see the strategizing. People are starting to visit Jess in their room, Jess in corners, Jess in other rooms, Jess in the bathroom, visiting Jess. You see they're having a really interesting conversation with Helena and Jess. Helena saying, hey, let's put up, you should probably put up T, Summer, and Betty, just to ensure that Moose goes home. You see a conversation with Jess and T, where Jess says, T could go up because, hey, you're very loved and no one's gonna, nobody's gonna break you. And we're not gonna break the siblings because this is my alliance and this is what I'm working for. And then you see the only conversation that ever matters in Jess's life, the Jess and Kevin conversation, where Jess basically says, no, T is a huge risk. I don't want to put T up. But Kevin says, yeah, it's not really the best for my game. Doesn't say that to Jess in particular. But, Helena will want to work with Jess. And the other people, they're just like numbers. So you should put up Jess. You should put up Tanisha. Don't even think about Helena. Don't worry about it. Everything will be fine. We get to the veto ceremony. Her mom goes down. Jess is off the block.
No. Hold
her
on.
Mom doesn't go
Back
down.
it up.
Her mom says, I know you didn't like me dancing on the block. You're going to hate watching me dance off the block.
And you know that this chaps Jess's ass because if Jess was pissed about how her mom acted going on, when you are putting him on the block, you have to hate the hell out of this.
The face was the only face she got.
And ultimately, T goes up. No hysterics. I thought T would be crying like in previous weeks, but T seems to be okay. Probably knew about it. What do you think about this move? What do you think of all of this, Kevin? Another rock star week for Kevin.
Yeah.
Rock star.
Kevin killed it. Kevin had a great week. Unfortunately, he wasn't an HOH. The HOH was a bad week for the HOH. Great week for Kevin.
Oh, I fully agree with that. I think one thing that that wasn't really mentioned was that Jess was discussing scenarios on putting Tanisha up, but then Tanisha was trying to push it back more towards Helena, and that's when Jess told Helena, being like, "Hey, Tanisha is throwing your name out." That was when it was the little bit of the downfall for Helena and Tanisha to not be on the same page anymore. How?
It has nothing to do with Helena. It has everything to do with Kevin.
1000%. Kevin and Marty are the reason that Tanisha went up. Had nothing to do with them throwing out Helena's name. They threw out Tanisha threw out Helena's name. Summer threw out Helena's name. Betty said Helena. Moose said put up Helena. Herman said put up Helena. They all were cool with Helena going up. It had nothing to do with that, Josh. It had everything to do with Kevin and Marty saying, we can't do this. We need Helena here. We need you to put up T.
And 100% spot on. They needed to get rid of either T or Moose for their game. One of them needed to go.
Just didn't.
No, Jess, it doesn't matter. No, Jess needed one of them to go too. This makes no damn sense for Jess to have put up Helena. That makes no damn sense. So
the makes the most sense, and no one talked about it on the show, was for Josh to go up next to Moose. For that would have made the most sense for Jess's game.
Yeah.
And I know, Josh V, I know you really, I know you think the Helena and Tanisha relationship really got spoiled there, but that's not what it was, man. Because Helena already knew that she was the most expendable of the four. She already knew that.
I'm not sure if Josh is very upset or if Josh is frozen.
Yeah, I think he's frozen.
I'm like looking at him and I'm like, he looks so sad.
He looks like Jess. He looks like Jess.
Was he frozen or was he not frozen?
No, I was just standing there the entire time. I was just listening.
Okay, wow. That was impressive.
Go on.
I am so scared, but I want to continue because I think that might have been an April Fool's joke on me. I'm really terrified. So we get to the next episode. On the block is Tanisha, it's Moose, and you finally see my new best friend, Helena, by herself in the pantry, talking in the cam, talking about what a charade she's put up, acting so stressed and unaware. And they don't really know the real me because I know what I'm doing. I've been playing this game, and I believe she has. She says, I didn't like Herman's dance. That was rude. And, hey, Herman, Summer T, all of those eye rolls for all the people that she's supposed to be working with, but are saying her name. So we finally see Helena, or at least I assume Helena has been doing this the entire time she's been in the house. But we finally see.
Oh, she was. She absolutely was.
We finally see them giving her the love she deserves and showing her that she's extremely bright. And one other point before I give it away to y'all, she looked gorgeous this week. She was glowing this week. I don't know. I never noticed her on that point of view, but damn, Helena.
Mm-hmm. She's gorgeous.
I agree.
Mm-hmm. What do y'all think?
Helena is, I told you guys, she's my winner pick. I said that from the jump. I said that we're not seeing enough Helena on the show. So we're spending so much time with Showmance and Marty. I'm so glad that the comedian of the show, Kevin, was able to show that we've been working together this whole time. We've been masterminding this thing, and we've been putting this to work. So it was so good to see. And Helena knows that she's not physically gifted in the challenges. So she knows that her real strength is in the strategy, and I respect it.
Yeah, I love it. And by far, I mean, we all love Summer. Summer is going to continue to be entertaining, but I am loving seeing the strategy coming from Kevin and Helena, and they're both skyrocketing, in my opinion, on just, really starting to root for them, kind of the underdogs, kind of a little bit of the outsiders, and they're banding together. And even though they weren't in power, they managed to get done what they wanted to get done. So a successful week for the both of them.
Yeah, I think Helena and Kevin is definitely the duo that we needed as of this moment. Not Summer and Tanisha, not Jason and Gino, not Moose and by himself, but specifically Kevin and Helena. Both of them running behind the scenes, going around to all ends of every single conversation, comparing notes, trying to figure out what is the best move for their games. I absolutely love it. It is probably an alliance that nobody would suspect, and it's genius. I like it.
So we then go outside, hot tub, great scene between Kevin and Moose, where basically the outcome of this scene is that Moose gave Kevin enough incentive to go fight for him. And we see Moose basically say, hey, guess what, Kevin? If I win this OF, if I win HOH, you're not going to go up. You're not going to be backdoored. And hey, if you win HOH, you can put me up. No problem. Don't worry about it. Gives the power to Kevin to say, yeah,
Let's do it.
Here. Let's do
Yeah.
it.
No, even better.
Kevin needed just this little bit of a nudge, not because because he's already going to do this, and he's like,
little
this is
does
amazing.
Moose know.
Yeah.
Little does Moose know. I
Right.
was keeping him anyway, and I was putting this in order so that way we could just screw up the house. But
This is great.
Thank you.
I will absolutely scoop up this
Thank
deal.
you. Give me
because
everything.
I'm doing
Why
it
not?
anyways.
You ever seen one of those? You ever been to like a store and they give like a promotion for you to come to the store? Like you go, like if you're gonna go to this, I don't know what you guys have in Canada, like a Walmart or like a Target. If you show up at this time, we will give
Winners.
you. Like if
Winners.
you're gonna go to this Winners, and then it's like we're gonna give you $100, but you're like, well, I was already going to the Winners anyway. But
Perfect.
so thank you. That's what happened.
Basically.
That's exactly what happened here. And I loved every second of it. Moose thought that was good gameplay, and it would have been had he needed it, but he didn't need it. So it still worked.
I agree. That was definitely one of the confessionals for Kevin that actually made me chuckle. And the thing is that my mom and I weren't really fans of Kevin in the diary rooms, but that scene maybe became a fan of him. So
Do you watch Big Brother with your mother? Because that's so cute.
that's how I got into Big Brother and Survivor.
Oh.
We need to get Mrs. Vitello here on the pod. But then we start seeing Kevin getting to work. And Kevin goes to JL and goes to Gino and says, take away tea, and there's a lot of people that are stranded all by themselves. And if you ever need any incentive, any payback for that blind side during Kyle's HOH, this is your time. I thought this was such a smart strategy. However, I am a little bit concerned about what this does to what people will end up thinking about Kevin, because this was not Kevin's brand. Kevin has been chill, relaxed, and he's actually now talking to people and saying, I'm actually here to play.
Well, I mean, he's at the point where he does kind of have to start turning it on. We're obviously now at the jury phase, and you've got to start building that resume. And I think this is kind of the turning point where he can say, hey, I'm the one that put the wheels in motion that broke apart this group that had control of the house. And I'm the one that, basically got Tanisha on the block and out of the house. And
even better than that. It's the evolution of Kevin, right? So you get the initial, like this is all a ploy. This Kevin is Kevin fully formed, right? He's the real Kevin here. But in reality, it looks like he's shy and awkward for the first 2 weeks. Then he starts to really get to know people, and now he's funny Kevin for the next 2 weeks. Now you enter mastermind Kevin for the rest of the way. It just shows that Kevin came out of his shell, became who. This is all fake, mind you, as we know. It's all fake. This is all.
Oh, we all knew from the jump. We all knew that.
But but to answer your question, Sheldon, does this ruin his motif, his regular who he is? No, it's actually how he can say, I had a whole growth over these 60 days. In reality, it was all bullshit.
Well, I have to say, that's you got to give it to Kevin. That's a lot of time to not be yourself. I don't know how you pretend to be some weird, strange, quiet, shy, confused person.
It's just a different part of Kevin. I mean, that's still him. He's just not showing the conniving, villainous side of Kevin.
Yeah, I think he was definitely trying to hold that back a little bit, because I think he's aware that if he ends up doing that for the first week, he's 100% an early boot. So I think him to try to play the sappy dog, oh no, I'm going to be first voted on, please keep me. He was doing that for the first couple of weeks and then switched to funny Kevin for the next 2 weeks. And then he switched to game mode. I definitely believe that was the right time for him to actually start gaming now.
Kevin, do you remember when our little Canadian friends here were saying
First
Kevin's
out.
going to be the first boot?
Yep,
I believe they did. I believe we also bet 10 American
Canadian.
on the fact that
He wouldn't be.
And then,
Well,
okay. Here's an interesting thing on that one. Here's this was based off of like first impressions. This was based off of first impressions and based off of the pictures.
He played you too, Josh. He played you too.
He played us all. Okay.
I love him. I don't see him not winning at this point. Like, he is so strong. And truth be told, I think Summer is still a far bigger threat than him. I think Josh is still a bigger threat than him. I think Marty even could be a bigger threat than him in some ways. I don't know. He's might
Kevin
be
can
there
still
for a
go.
long while.
Kevin can still not make it. That's my only thought.
Yeah,
I'm with you. Is that if he gets to the end? But the reason I say Kevin can still not make it is because for some he's still considered expendable.
Yeah, I fully agree. I think like the only way that Kevin can actually make it through unscathed is that he has to jump ship every single vote to make sure that he's not in trouble. I also think he needs to keep his people safe. That's the only way he's going to get far, because if the wrong people could get in power, and if they don't want to cause any waves, then he could be a easy nom or backdoor. But that's up to them what they want to do.
So let's continue on with Kevin's craziness. And we're back in the pantry, and there's Kevin. He's sitting on the counter right beside my best friend, Josh. And they're smirking at each other. There's a little smirk-mance going on, and the smirking,
that was awkward. That was a bit awkward.
I loved every second of it, because underneath that smirk, Kevin was saying, "Are you ready to do something?" And Josh was saying, "Are you ready to do something?" And Kevin was saying, "I think we're ready to do something." And Josh was saying, "We can do this. Not only do you not have to go against your alliance, but the person that actually helps your game going forward leaving could leave." And Tanisha goes. And the most amazing thing that came out of this is that Kevin was so aware that Josh is playing a good, strategic game, but his emotions are actually also a big part of this decision making, and was able to say, "Hey, it's time to use your big brain instead of your big heart."
Right. Don't look at Tanisha as the single mother that can use $100,000, but look at her as somebody that can win this game and take the money from you and the win from you. And hey, I've kind of got things laid out where we can get Tanisha out of the house. You can still vote to keep her in the game, but it serves your purpose, and you just basically have to keep it hush hush.
Yep.
And the best part of this whole thing is that Kevin said this in full confidence because he knew he had the votes. That's what's crazy about this whole thing. I'm like, damn, Kevin, you're bold on that. Okay. Props to you.
We get to the vote time. Moose gives this great passionate plea, and T says something that I don't understand, but I'm hoping those of you who watch the live feeds could explain it to me. Yeah. T says, "She was put into this position to be a pawn. Please don't vote me out. And also, my name is Tanisha, not Tiana, because names matter." What did that mean?
Jess earlier this week had made it clear about their pronouns and how important they are to use the proper pronouns when Moose accidentally used the wrong pronouns.
Yes.
During the first week or two, even though they were repeatedly corrected, they accidentally called Tanisha Tiana several times. Even though it was for the first week or two, and they were learning everyone's names, that carried on for about 7, 8, 9, 10 days. Completely accidental, but happened quite often, to the point where Tanisha told Jeff they could just call them T to make it easier on them. Tanisha said that from the beginning, but Jeff was insistent on using her full name, but using it incorrectly several times accidentally. So for Jeff to have made a huge stink earlier in the week about Moose's flubber.
Flubber, but let's rewind refine this a little bit, because whatever Jess wants their pronouns to be, that's fine. But in the house, Jess said their pronouns were she, they. So I don't think
even if
that
they
Jess
changed
can
them.
be just completely pissed. I mean, it's not like Moose
Well,
has
that's the
busted
point, though,
this
right? Is
out
that
when Jess said from the
true?
beginning that that's what their pronouns were.
True. But that's why with Jess have gone. Jess's words were, names matter, pronouns matter, which is why Tanisha was making it clear that names
Matter.
matter too, and not all Black people are Tanishas and Tianas or Tyras or what have you. My name is Tanisha.
Yeah.
And then we got another face from Jess.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, this night's going real bad for Jess, and it started with that because damn.
Because, well, by a vote of 5-4, Tanisha goes home, not Tiana. Okay, Tanisha goes home. The 4 votes to keep for Moose were Betty, were Summer, were Herman, and were Josh. So Josh still was able to know that he's going home and still vote out Moose. Again, at the intersection of game and heart, you see Helena look in the camera when she puts her vote in and says, "I'm so sorry, Sienna." Sienna being Tanisha's daughter.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
As she goes out, as T goes out.
Before she goes out, the moment that they say the vote, Moose breaks down in tears.
Yes.
Moose is bawling. Moose is safe, and he's not crying because he's safe. He's crying because Tanisha's gone. And not only is Tanisha gone, Tanisha opens her big arms and she says, "Squad, my squad, come here." And Herman, Summer, Betty, Josh, and Moose bury themselves in her arms as they cry and hug together because they didn't want to be in this place. And Jess put them in this place. And this was a huge moment for the squad.
So that's interesting though, because I didn't really put those two together, because to me what they were basically saying is what Tanisha basically did was, these are all the people I was trying to work with. Just so you know, they're actually all working together. So watch out. Like, was she on her way out giving up too much information to the house?
Yeah, kind of a little bit, I thought.
But I don't think so.
The vote gave everything they needed to see, right? Everyone she hugged were the people that voted to keep her, except for Moose, obviously, because Moose doesn't have a vote. Yeah. And Moose crying immediately when the vote was read out. It almost felt as if Moose would rather have gone instead of Tanisha, right? Moose was like, rather have it be me than Tanisha. So even though it was there, all these people were working together, it was very obvious based on how the vote count went down.
So we head to the double eviction, the second part of this night, which I loved every second of it. And this was so much fun. It was the safety chain. They first started off with the bowling competition, where the person who actually gets the highest score when they throw that ball through those pins ends up getting safety first. They all roll it, and who gets safety? The guy who was just on the block. Moose gets safety, and what that means is he guarantees his safety for that night and starts the chain. How does the chain work? Well, Moose then chooses the next person who he wants to be safe. That next person picks the next person that they want to be safe, and so on and so forth until there are 3 people left. So what we saw was, very simply, Moose, surprise, surprise, picks Herman. Herman picks Josh. Josh picks Betty. Betty picks Summer.
Squad safe. Squad safe.
All of these people are safe.
The squad, the squad is safe.
The squad is safe.
Squad is safe.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. The squad is safe. Interestingly enough, Summer picks Kevin, and Kevin doesn't actually pick Helena. Kevin picks Marty, and Marty picks Helena, which means Jess, shocker, shocker, JL and Gino, the showmans, they're together, all three of them competing for safety. So much has happened in a very short period of time. What do you think about that safety chain?
That is definitely I absolutely loved every aspect of that safety chain because that shows your cards on who is really your number one ally in this game. I loved every aspect of that. It definitely had me on the edge of my seat. I truly hope that, like, if they continue to bring that twist back, I hope it's a staple for BB Can because it is definitely an eye over.
How can Gino ever trust Marty? How? Like, at this point, Marty has stabbed you in the back twice to your face.
Yep.
He stabbed you in your back.
Wait till we get to the third time.
But that's not even the point, though. Like, at this point, it's 2 different times. There's a chance to literally say a name, and then they're safe. Marty has the last choice. Brilliance of Kevin making sure that Marty is the last one to make this decision and puts this on Marty. And Marty does not choose Gino. This person he's trying to build all this trust back with. Stupid on him.
So, as a twist, overall, I do not love this because
you are so wrong. You are wrong.
No.
Okay, give us your opinion.
Okay, tell us why.
Because I just don't like the breaking of like the whole rubric of what Big Brother is. Big Brother has an HOH, it has nominees, it has a veto, it has an
Did you see the Kevin eye roll? Guys,
I don't care. This was the cheap knockoff version of the Mon Juan hat. Didn't love it with the Mon Juan hat, and we don't need it here either. So
what's the Mon Juan? Sorry.
From Celebrity Big Brother.
Celebrity Big Brother. They had a hat. It was also this,
and they did the same thing. I love the idea of having to choose, and it exposes your cards. That's fine, but I don't like it in terms of getting the safety for the week. I don't like that.
I want a whole game that's just the safety chain.
Sure, make a different game. I don't hate the concept. I hate it in Big Brother.
So, how do you feel about Pandora's box? How do you feel about that separate
but
room?
It doesn't change the exact rubric of what Big
about
Brother
when there's
is.
2 HOHs? How do you feel about that?
I hated that twist. That sucks.
There's always twists, Kylie. That's what twists.
Yes, there are twists, but I don't like changing the actual rubric of what Big Brother is. I want there to be an HOH. I want there to be an nominees.
I just think that, like, for the
I don't like that there was, I could have even appreciated it more if they were like, hey, Moose, you're safe because you won this competition and we're going to do a safety chain. Plot twist, the 3 people that are left out, those are the only 3 people that get to compete for HOH. That would have been better. That would have been great. Hey,
I think that would have been a bit too much.
And now only the 3 of y'all get to compete for HOH. Y'all, all 3 are wrong. No, I'm kidding.
But the people, Sheldon, you're muted. The people chose who was going on the block because that's why the safety chain worked.
But it wasn't on the block. But it wasn't. If you want to do a twist and you want to make it a Big Brother twist, you do that where they all think, oh, hey, you say, hey, Moose, you're safe. You're starting a safety chain. And they think, oh, hey, we're safe. And then they get to the end and they're like, plot twist. You just pick the people that don't get to compete for HOH. So
Jess,
why would you do that?
I would have gone further than what Kylie wants completely. I would have not had that second competition.
Last person's out.
Yes, I would not have had a vote. I wouldn't have had any of it. I would have just said last person, bye-bye, Jess.
Oh, man, like, I would have done that.
I mean, that's basically what they did anyways. They just gave Jess a chance to save themselves. But as long as Jess didn't win the competition, Jess was a goner.
Yeah,
so moving on, Jess was a white ball away from winning that competition.
They were. Yeah. So we had this next competition where they had to sort through this looks like hundreds of balls.
Yeah, that was fun. I like this.
Balls, a lot of different colors. And it's a really simple competition. Put all the green balls in one chute, put all the yellow balls in another chute. If you put any other balls in there, you're going to have to start over because you got to dump. And the person who gets all the balls that are colored in there first and hits their red button wins. And guess who wins? Surprise, surprise, but not a real shocker. JC Lynn wins, and JC Lynn is safe. And as Kevin said, Jess was ahead of both of them, and
Killed
Jess's
it.
strategy, because the both of them actually decided, let's do one color at a time. Jess did all the colors at a time and screwed up one ball, and that one ball ruined everything. What do y'all think?
Yeah.
It was
I think...
exciting to watch.
Kylie, shush, let Josh
You
talk.
shut up.
You're not liking it.
I didn't even like the competition definitely seemed very intense. Like even from the way that they're like just cutting and splicing on the bat to make it look like the Jess was winning, but then they keep zooming in on the white ball, and I keep like just sitting back here being like, why? Like Jess, were you not paying attention? Like you left the white ball in there, but like it was definitely very like loud screaming and shouting at my TV saying, Jess, you forgot a ball. But yeah, I absolutely love that competition. It was great.
So
I thought it was crazy, and I thought Jess's strategy was the best, and Jess had a chance to save themselves, and this was it. They could have. They were close.
who would have gone home? Gino.
Gino.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
Gino,
Gino.
100%. Gino, 100%.
Yeah. So I might have just spoiled it. We get to the vote. By a vote of 7-2, with two people trying to save Jess, and those two people were Josh. Marty.
No.
Sorry,
It was
Marty.
Marty and Helena. Sorry,
Yeah.
Marty and Helena. 7-2. Jess goes home, and as Jess walks out the house, they say something that I was like WTF about, because that's how I felt about them this entire game. But they said, life is about polarity, darkness and light, happiness and sadness. There could only
Heroes
be
and villains,
heroes.
whatever the hell that
You
is.
can't have heroes without villains. I actually kind of loved this
are
quote.
They are right.
Yeah, no, I
right.
loved this quote because it's absolutely true. You have to have somebody to root against for
Yeah.
you to
Everyone
have
has someone to root
people you
for.
want to root. And Jess was the villain. You wanted Jess to
There-
lead
what-
so badly.
Do we think
Without
Jess
light-
thought that they were a villain? Because I think Jess thought they were a hero.
No, I think Jess realizes that they were a villain.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think Jess loved them.
I don't think Jess was a villain. I think Jess was more of a underdog or a sidekick.
Jess
to be
was a
honest.
villain. Jess's origin story, the origin story came out this week. But without light, without darkness, you can't have light. This is true. The things are, you need both, and that's super smart. And I respected it. One thing that I want to talk about that's crazy is that Marty, for the third time, betrayed Gino. And this is the thing that I don't understand from this man. He says Gino's name and buries his head in his hands because he's ashamed of himself.
Okay.
In
okay,
what
hold on.
world?
Hold on.
In what world does Marty think that Gino is going to go home over Jess? In what world?
Hold on,
And not
hold
even
on.
that. Not even that. Hold on, Josh. Not even that. He's like, he's constantly betraying him and then lashing himself for doing it. And I don't understand. Like, if you're not really working with Gino, which is fine, stop beating yourself up about doing these things to betray Gino.
Okay. No, Kevin, come on.
Hold on.
You know that even if you're not working with somebody in a game, you could still like them and feel bad that you're voting for them.
That's not my question, though. That's my question. So the first time he votes against them, goes to Gino, apologizes profusely, and says, if you want to put me up, I understand. This is my fault. You should put me up. I am so sorry. I have betrayed your trust. Basically took a knee, kissed Gino's, the Greek god's feet, and apologized profusely. He then goes in the safety chain, and then he says, Helena, sits down, puts his head in his hands, because he knows that he just condemned Gino to this competition. So he feels bad once again about doing this. Then when it's time to vote, he votes Gino and essentially cries. You consistently are going against this man. Why do you feel so? It's not like it happened one time. You can't keep apologizing and then doing the same thing.
Can I interject on something? Because I've noticed something when the eviction was going in. I think there was more going on than that edit that wasn't shown in the safety chain round. Reason being is that I think Kevin was trying to rally the votes to take out Gino, but didn't have enough time. That's why during the eviction scene, when Kevin sat down to be like, I vote to evict Jess, that's when I knew right then and there that Kevin was trying to rally the votes to take out Gino.
I don't
That's what I've noticed.
I don't
I
think
agree with
Kevin
Josh.
was. I don't think
I agree
Kevin
with Josh.
had the time to try to do that, and I don't think Kevin
Right.
had the ability to try to do that because
Right.
Kevin can read a room and realize that this isn't going to happen. And so when Kevin is like, oh, damn, I vote to evict Jess, because Kevin didn't want Jess to leave, but Kevin knows there's no chance in hell Jess is staying in this house.
I disagree. I think that he was trying to figure out the numbers and didn't have the numbers. I think he tried and which is why he tells Marty and he tells Helena
vote that way.
To vote that way,
and he tells Helena to vote that way too.
Yep. And then when he's talking to Josh tells him that he can't do it. And it has to be Josh telling him he can't do it because Josh is the vote that they would need to force the tie. And they can't get it because Moose and Herman happily voted Jess. Summer is going to happily vote Jess, right? Betty, maybe Jess, maybe Gino. That's who you're going to try to get. So once it's there, it's too late. And I think that's what happened.
And so what would they have done in this dumbass twist if it would have been a tied vote? Because there's not an HOH to vote them out.
Ooh, maybe Moose.
Good question. Who knows?
Moose.
That's not for you to know.
Yeah, exactly. A shitty thought out twist. Good job, Big Brother.
Maybe
it's not shitty.
How dare you? Give me a
There has to be a villain for there to be heroes, y'all.
Sheldon, we're the heroes. Kylie's obviously the villain. Sheldon land the fucking plane.
I know. I so disagree with Kylie. I don't know what she's thinking. Jess went home. That's all that matters. Sorry, Jess, if you're listening. So Jess is home. We're down Jess this week. We're down Tanisha this week. We are also now at jury phase. Congratulations. Everybody in that house either will win, will be in the end, or will have a chance to cast their vote to win. I think we're about to see a bit of a crazy shitstorm going on over the next few weeks as Kevin starts revving up and doing some damage, as Helena starts doing some damage, as Gino and JC Lynn start to decide that, oh yeah, they actually have to do something and start playing, as Betty blows up on a few more people. I can't wait. And before we say goodbye today, we were playing a little bit of a game within a game here that Josh didn't know about.
Josh.
Yeah, so tonight, Josh, Kylie and I, we started off our evening with 3 quotes. And we had to put 3 quotes into this conversation today and try to make sure you can't realize that we are actually putting them into this conversation. So, Josh, do you have any ideas what quotes we used tonight during the last hour and 12 minutes?
There was a lot. I don't even. Oh gosh. I think it was. Oh wow.
Kevin, you were here for a bit of the time. Maybe you could help Josh out.
So, Josh, think about what they were saying. Was anything out of the ordinary? Was anything? So maybe chap Jess's ass, chapter ass might be one. That's something that might not normally be said.
Welcome to Texas, baby. We say chapter ass.
So I think that could have been something that was oddly said by someone. Did you catch anything, Josh?
I don't think so. Maybe like,
Tell the man.
Okay, what is it? Like, they definitely serving me up.
They were all 3 food related.
They were all 3 food related. I had 2. Kylie had 1. I'll go with one of mine. I said, my mother used to always say, the older you get, the better you get, unless you're a banana.
Oh, banana!
Yes. Kylie, what was yours? Kylie, what was yours?
Every time I open my wallet up, it makes me think of an onion and I cry.
Yeah, I thought that was,
the onion too. And like,
I didn't think that was weird.
And the last one was, all my life, I thought air was for free. That was until I bought a bag of potato chips. And this is April Fool's for Josh Vitello.
Wow. Okay.
So
that was a good one. That was a good one.
Great week of Big Brother Canada. I think we're about to see a great week ahead. Kylie, anything to plug?
We will be back next Thursday to recap the 5th episode of Survivor 42. So check us out then. 8 Eastern.
Kevin Gilreath.
So if you are a big fan of The Script, it's a band out of like Ireland or something, I'm about to go see them right here at Mandalay Bay in Las Vegas. in like 20 minutes. So that's going to be great. Listen, they have a greatest hits album that's just out. They have songs like Break Even, The Man Who Can't Be Moved. They had great mood music, Heroes, songs like that. Listen to their music.
Okay, check out their music. I don't think they're paying him, but check out their music. Josh, what do you
I'm
got?
paying them. I'm paying them.
I don't think this is how business works, Kevin. You got this wrong.
Okay. Well, I will say that like originally the first episode was going to be dropped for this Wednesday, but unfortunately it's going to be pushed to next year. JK, April Fools. The first episode of Pandemic. The first episode of Pandemic is dropping this Wednesday. We are really getting close to the deadline. I cannot wait to see the fresh new faces. Get ready to stir a whole lot of chaos. If you haven't followed the YouTube channel, please follow to Survivor Pandemic, as well as get ready for the first episode will be dropped after Survivor at 9 p.m. So stick around for your YouTube notifications for that. You do not want to miss this chaotic season. Stick around for that.
And for me tonight, don't forget, when you go to Wendy's, get your spicy chicken. It's Kevin.
Please, it's good.
Kevin and Josh outside the For the Fans house.
Hold on. Make sure you join us on Tuesday.
Oh, yeah.
As
Tuesday.
we go at 8 o'clock Eastern. We will be back, myself, Sheldon, Josh, hopefully DeLucas. If not DeLucas, maybe someone else. Maybe just the three of us. But we will be back. Maybe just
probably not if they hear this.
Maybe we can talk to Tanisha. You know what I'm saying? I would love that.
Oh, that'd be dope. Why not?
Tanisha.
JK, we're gonna have Kyle Moore. It's gonna be us and Kyle Moore. We're gonna be joined.
I think I want to. Kevin, I'd like to find somebody random in Canada named Kyle Moore who is not Kyle Moore the first
for the third season in a row.
Let's get Kyle Moore 3.0 on here. So we're gonna do that. Join us Tuesday. We go through this. We'll tell you who the new HOH is.
Ooh.
We'll tell you who the new noms are. We will go through the live feeds. We'll do all that on Tuesday.
Can't wait. From outside the For the Fans house in Thornhill, Ontario, Canada, my name is Sheldon for Kiley, Kevin, and Josh. Good night.